Emily's consciousness slowly drifted back as she lay in a hospital bed, her head throbbing and her body aching. The sterile smell of antiseptics and the rhythmic beeping of medical monitors surrounded her. She blinked her eyes open, disoriented and trying to remember what had happened. The memory of the fire hit her like a tidal wave. Her house, her sanctuary, was gone. She turned her head slightly and was surprised to see a man sitting by her bedside. His posture was rigid, his eyes filled with concern. "You're awake," he said softly, a mixture of relief and exhaustion in his voice. He was dressed in a firefighter's uniform, his face smudged with soot and his eyes bloodshot from fatigue. Who are you?" Emily managed to croak out, her throat dry and sore. "My name is Ryan," he replied. "I'm the firefighter who pulled you out of the house. I wanted to make sure you were okay." Emily's eyes welled up with tears. The reality of her situation began to sink in. "My house, it's gone, isn't it?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Ryan nodded solemnly. "I'm afraid so, but the important thing is that you're safe." Emily felt a surge of gratitude towards this man who had risked his life to save hers. Despite the overwhelming sense of loss, she felt a glimmer of hope. She wasn't alone in this. Ryan's presence was a small comfort in the midst of her devastation. As the days passed, Emily began to physically recover from the ordeal, but the emotional scars were deep. Ryan visited her regularly, and their conversations became a lifeline for her. They talked about everything: her life before the fire, his experiences as a firefighter, and the random, mundane things that helped distract her from the pain. "I've always loved photography," Emily shared one afternoon, her eyes lighting up for the first time since she woke up in the hospital. "I used to capture moments, tell stories through my lens, but I haven't picked up a camera in years." Ryan smiled encouragingly. "Maybe it's time to start again. Sometimes, finding something you love can help you heal." Emily nodded, considering his words. There was something about Ryan's presence that made her feel stronger, more capable of facing the challenges ahead. When she was finally discharged, Ryan offered to take her back to the remnants of her home. The sight was almost too much to bear. Charred wood, broken glass, and the smell of smoke still lingered in the air. Emily felt desolate, her heart breaking all over again. But amidst the ruins, she found her old camera, miraculously untouched by the flames. She picked it up, cradling it like a lifeline. "Maybe you're right," she said to Ryan, her voice resolute. "Maybe this is exactly what I need to start over." Ryan's eyes softened with understanding. "You're stronger than you think, Emily. You'll get through this." In the weeks that followed, Ryan continued to check in on Emily. Their bond grew stronger with each visit. They shared more about their lives, their dreams, and their fears. Emily found herself looking forward to his visits, finding comfort and strength in their conversations. One evening, as they sat in Emily's temporary apartment, she asked him a question that had been on her mind. "Why do you do it, Ryan? Why do you risk your life every day as a firefighter?" Ryan paused, his expression thoughtful. "I guess it's because I want to make a difference, to help people when they need it the most. It's not always easy, but it's worth it." Emily nodded, feeling a deep sense of admiration for him. "You certainly made a difference in my life," she said softly. Ryan reached out and took her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "And you in mine, Emily." As their connection deepened, Emily found herself drawn to Ryan in ways she hadn't expected. But there was a lingering doubt, a question she hadn't yet dared to ask. One day, as they walked through the park, she decided to voice her concern. "Ryan, can I ask you something personal?" she began, her voice hesitant. "Of course," he replied, looking at her with those kind, steady eyes. Are you married?" she asked, holding her breath. Ryan's expression shifted, a flicker of discomfort crossing his face. "I am," he admitted, "but it's complicated. My wife, Rebecca, and I have been having problems for a while now." Emily felt a pang of disappointment and confusion. "I see," she said quietly, unsure of how to process this information. Ryan sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't mean to mislead you, Emily. My feelings for you are real, but I need to sort things out with Rebecca first." Emily nodded, her heart heavy. "I understand," she said, though the words felt hollow. Their conversation that day left Emily with more questions than answers. She knew she had to reevaluate her choices, to find a way to move forward without relying on Ryan as her emotional anchor. It was a painful realization, but one she knew was necessary for her own healing. Determined to find a new direction, Emily threw herself into her photography. She began documenting the aftermath of the fire, capturing the resilience and strength of the people who were rebuilding their lives. It became her mission, her way of turning her pain into something meaningful. One afternoon, as she was photographing a group of volunteers, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Emily, how are you doing?" She turned to see Ryan standing there, a look of concern on his face. "I'm doing okay," she replied, though her tone was guarded. "I wanted to check on you, to see how you're holding up," he said, his eyes searching hers. Emily took a deep breath. "I'm finding my way," she said, "but I think it's best if we keep some distance for now. You need to focus on your marriage, and I need to focus on myself." Ryan nodded, though the sadness in his eyes was evident. "I understand. Just know that I'm here if you ever need anything." "Thank you, Ryan," Emily said sincerely, "for everything." As he walked away, Emily felt a mixture of relief and sadness. She knew it was the right decision, but it didn't make it any easier. Clutching her camera, she turned back to her work, determined to find strength in her new purpose. In the months that followed, Emily's photography project gained momentum. She met incredible people, each with their own story of loss and resilience. Her work brought her a sense of fulfillment she hadn't felt in a long time. And though the pain of the fire and her complicated feelings for Ryan lingered, she knew she was on a path to healing. Emily's journey was far from over, but she was learning to navigate the twists and turns with grace and determination. She had found a new sense of purpose, and in that, she discovered a strength she never knew she had. Emily found herself in the midst of a support group for fire victims, a place she never imagined she would need to be. The room was filled with people who had experienced similar devastation, their faces marked by a mix of sorrow and resilience. As she took a seat, she noticed a woman sitting across from her, who appeared to be around her age, holding the hand of a small child. This was Sarah, a single mother who had also lost everything in the fire. During the meeting, attendees took turns sharing their stories. When it was Sarah's turn, she spoke with a quiet strength. "My name is Sarah, and this is my son, Tommy. We lost our home in the fire," she said, her voice steady but her eyes betraying the depth of her pain. "I don't know what the future holds for us, but I have to stay strong for Tommy. He needs me to be his rock." Emily was moved by Sarah's courage. After the meeting, she approached her. "Hi, I'm Emily. I couldn't help but be inspired by your story. It's so brave of you to stay strong for your son." Sarah smiled warmly. "Thank you, Emily. It's not easy, but I have no choice. We have to keep moving forward, right?" The two women quickly formed a bond, united by their shared experience of loss and the determination to rebuild their lives. Emily found herself drawn to Sarah's resilience and decided to channel her own pain into something constructive. Inspired by Sarah, Emily remembered her love for photography, a passion she had set aside years ago. She decided to document the stories of those affected by the fire, hoping to give them a voice and find a new purpose for herself. Emily began attending more support group meetings, camera in hand, capturing the raw emotions and poignant moments shared by the members. She interviewed people, listened to their stories, and took photographs that conveyed their strength and vulnerability. This project became her lifeline, giving her a renewed sense of purpose. One day, after a particularly emotional meeting, Emily and Sarah sat together in a nearby cafe, sipping coffee and talking about their lives. Emily shared her idea about the photography project with Sarah. "I want to document the stories of people like us," Emily explained. "I think it's important for others to see what we've been through and how we're trying to rebuild our lives. Maybe it can help us heal and also raise awareness about the impact of such tragedies." Sarah nodded, her eyes lighting up with interest. "That's a wonderful idea, Emily. I'd be honored to be a part of it. Our stories deserve to be told." As Emily continued her work, she became more deeply connected to the community of fire survivors. Each story she documented added a new layer to her understanding of resilience and hope. The project began to take shape, and Emily felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't experienced in a long time. However, during one of the support group meetings, something unexpected happened that shook Emily to her core. As she was setting up her camera, she noticed a familiar face in an old photograph on the bulletin board. It was Ryan, the firefighter who had saved her life, standing next to a woman. The caption read, "Ryan and Rebecca, 2015. Emily's heart sank. She had developed a deep emotional connection with Ryan, and this revelation felt like a betrayal. She couldn't believe he had never mentioned he was married. After the meeting, she confronted Sarah about it. "Sarah, do you know anything about Ryan and his wife?" Emily asked, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and confusion. Sarah looked surprised. "Ryan? Yes, he's married to Rebecca. They've been together for years. Why do you ask?" Emily felt a lump in her throat. I didn't know. He never mentioned it, and I feel so confused right now." Sarah reached out and placed a comforting hand on Emily's arm. "I'm so sorry, Emily. That must be really hard to hear. Maybe there's more to the story that you don't know. You should talk to him." Emily nodded, her mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. She knew she needed to confront Ryan, but the fear of what she might discover made her hesitate. That night, she couldn't sleep, her mind replaying every interaction she had with Ryan, searching for clues she might have missed. The next day, she decided to visit the fire station where Ryan worked. She found him outside, cleaning one of the fire trucks. When he saw her, his face lit up with a smile, but it quickly faded when he noticed the serious expression on her face. "Emily, is everything okay?" he asked, concern evident in his voice. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her emotions. "Ryan, I need to talk to you. I found a photo of you and your wife at the support group meeting. Why didn't you tell me you were married?" Ryan's expression turned somber. He looked down, clearly struggling with what to say. "Emily, I'm sorry. I should have told you. It's just, things with Rebecca have been complicated for a while now. We've been going through a rough patch, and I didn't want to burden you with my problems, especially after everything you've been through." Emily felt a mix of relief and hurt. "But Ryan, I opened up to you. I thought we had something real. How could you keep something so important from me?" Ryan sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I never meant to hurt you, Emily. I care about you deeply, but I need to figure out my own life first. Rebecca and I are trying to work things out, and it's only fair to her and to you that I be honest about it." Emily felt tears welling up in her eyes. "I understand, Ryan, but I need some time to process this. I can't be in the middle of your unresolved issues." Ryan nodded, a look of regret in his eyes. "I respect that, Emily. I'm truly sorry for any pain I've caused you. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me someday." With that, Emily turned and walked away, her heart heavy but her resolve stronger than ever. She knew she needed to focus on her own healing and continue her journey of rebuilding her life. The photography project had given her a new sense of purpose, and she was determined to see it through, no matter how painful the personal revelations along the way might be. Emily stood in her small, sparsely furnished apartment, staring at the photograph in her hand. It was a candid snapshot of Ryan, the firefighter who had saved her life, standing beside a woman with a radiant smile. They looked happy, content, and in love. Emily's heart sank as she realized who the woman must be: Ryan's wife, Rebecca. The memory of her connection with Ryan replayed in her mind like a haunting melody. From the moment she woke up in the hospital, disoriented and in pain, to the countless hours they had spent talking about life, loss, and hope, Emily had felt an inexplicable bond with him. But now, all those moments seemed tainted by the revelation of his marital status. Emily knew she needed to confront Ryan, to hear the truth from him directly. She called him, her voice trembling as she asked him to meet her at a nearby park. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the grass as Emily waited, her mind racing with questions and doubts. Ryan arrived, his expression a mix of concern and confusion. "Emily, what's going on? You sounded upset on the phone." She took a deep breath, holding up the photograph. "Ryan, who is this woman?" Ryan's face paled as he recognized the picture. He sighed deeply, running a hand through his hair. That's Rebecca, my wife. Emily felt a wave of anger and betrayal wash over her. Why didn't you tell me you were married? We've spent so much time together, talking about everything. How could you keep something like this from me? Ryan looked down, his shoulders slumping. I'm sorry, Emily. I didn't mean to deceive you. Things with Rebecca have been complicated for a while. We've been going through a rough patch, and I guess I was trying to escape my problems by focusing on helping you. Emily's eyes filled with tears. But it wasn't just about helping me, was it? There were feelings involved, Ryan. I thought we had something real. Ryan reached out to touch her arm, but she stepped back, shaking her head. I can't do this, Ryan. I can't be part of whatever mess you have with your wife. I need to focus on my own healing, on rebuilding my life. Ryan's voice was pleading. Emily, please don't cut me out of your life. I care about you. Emily's resolve hardened. You need to fix things with Rebecca, Ryan. You owe her that. And I need to move on. Goodbye, Ryan. As Emily walked away, she felt a mix of sorrow and relief. She had made the right decision, but it didn't make the pain any less real. She threw herself into her photography project with renewed determination, using her camera to capture the resilience of the city and its people as they rebuilt their lives. Meanwhile, Ryan returned home to Rebecca, the weight of his actions heavy on his shoulders. He knew he had to come clean about everything, to face the consequences of his emotional infidelity. Rebecca was sitting on the couch, her face etched with worry. Rebecca, we need to talk, Ryan said, sitting down beside her. He took her hand, feeling the familiar warmth of her touch. I've been distant and dishonest, and I'm so sorry. I met someone, Emily, who I became close to while dealing with the aftermath of the fire. But I realize now that I was avoiding our problems. I want to make things right with us. Rebecca's eyes were filled with tears. Ryan, I've known something was wrong for a while. I appreciate your honesty, but we need to work through this together. I think we should see a therapist. Ryan nodded, relief mixing with apprehension. I agree. I want to fight for our marriage. As Ryan and Rebecca began attending therapy sessions, they slowly started to rebuild the trust that had been damaged. It was a long and difficult process, but they were committed to each other and their relationship. For Emily, focusing on her photography became a form of therapy. She spent hours documenting the recovery efforts in Los Angeles, meeting people who had lost everything but were determined to rebuild. She found inspiration in their stories and strength in their resilience. One day, while photographing a community event, Emily met Mr. Thompson, an elderly man who had lost his home in the fire. Despite his hardships, Mr. Thompson had a twinkle in his eye and a smile that never seemed to fade. Your camera captures more than just images, Mr. Thompson said, watching Emily work. It captures the spirit of the people. Emily smiled, feeling a sense of purpose. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I want to tell stories that matter, to show the world the strength and courage of this community. As the weeks turned into months, Emily's project grew. She held small exhibitions, gaining recognition for her work. Her photographs were a testament to human resilience and the power of community. One evening, as she was preparing for another exhibition, Emily received a phone call from Sarah, a mother she had met at the support group. Emily, I just wanted to thank you, Sarah said, her voice filled with emotion. Your photographs have brought attention to our struggles and helped us get the support we needed. Emily felt a surge of pride and gratitude. I'm so glad to hear that, Sarah. It means the world to me. As she hung up, Emily reflected on her journey. She had faced unimaginable loss and heartbreak, but she had also discovered a newfound strength and purpose. Her photography had become a way to heal herself and others, a way to turn pain into hope. Emily knew that her path was still unfolding, but she felt ready to face whatever came next. She had learned that even in the darkest times, there was always a way to find light and rebuild. And in that light, she found the strength to keep moving forward, one photograph at a time. Emily's journey took an unexpected turn when she bumped into Mark, an old friend from childhood, while visiting one of the sites affected by the devastating Los Angeles fire. Mark was volunteering to help rebuild the community, putting his carpentry skills to good use. Their reunion was bittersweet, filled with memories of simpler times and the stark reality of their current circumstances. "Mark, is that really you?" Emily exclaimed, her voice tinged with disbelief and a touch of joy. Mark turned around, his face lighting up with recognition. "Emily, I can't believe it. How have you been holding up?" Emily managed a small smile, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "It's been tough, but I'm managing. It's just surreal, you know?" Mark nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "Yeah, I can imagine. I'm so sorry about your house. I heard about it and was hoping you'd be okay." "Thanks, Mark. It's been a rough road, but seeing a familiar face helps," Emily replied, feeling a sense of comfort in their unexpected reunion. As they continued to catch up, Mark told Emily about his volunteering efforts and how he felt compelled to help the community rebuild after the tragedy. His dedication and selflessness struck a chord with Emily, reminding her of the kind-hearted boy she once knew. They decided to grab a coffee after their volunteer shifts, eager to reconnect and support each other through these challenging times. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Mark spent more time together, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. They shared stories of their lives since they last saw each other, finding solace in their renewed friendship. Emily was particularly grateful for Mark's presence, as he provided a sense of stability and understanding that she desperately needed. One evening, as they walked through a park that had miraculously survived the fire, Emily confided in Mark about her project to document the recovery of the city through photography. She spoke passionately about the importance of capturing the resilience and strength of the people affected by the fire. "I think it's incredible what you're doing, Emily," Mark said, admiration evident in his eyes. "You're turning your pain into something beautiful and meaningful. It's inspiring." Emily blushed, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Mark. It means a lot to hear that. I just want to help people see that even in the darkest times, there's still hope and beauty." Their conversations grew deeper, and they found themselves drawn to each other in ways they hadn't anticipated. The attraction between them was undeniable, but both were cautious, aware of the emotional baggage they carried. One afternoon, as they were organizing supplies for a rebuilding project, Mark hesitated before speaking. "Emily, there's something I need to tell you." Emily looked up, sensing his hesitation. "What is it, Mark?" He took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "I've been feeling something for you. It's not just friendship anymore. I care about you deeply, and I think there's something more between us. But I don't want to rush you or make things complicated." Emily's heart raced, her emotions swirling. She had grown fond of Mark, appreciating his kindness, strength, and unwavering support. But her recent experiences had left her cautious, unsure if she was ready to open her heart again. "Mark, I feel the same way," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I'm scared. So much has happened, and I don't want to hurt you or myself." Mark reached out, gently taking her hand. "I understand, Emily. We can take it slow, one step at a time. I just wanted to be honest with you about my feelings." They stood there, holding hands, a silent promise passing between them. They would navigate this new chapter together, supporting each other through the healing process. As Emily continued to work on her photography project, she received exciting news that would change the course of her career. A local gallery had seen her work and invited her to showcase her photographs in an upcoming exhibition. The opportunity was a significant milestone, opening new professional doors for her. "Mark, you won't believe it," Emily exclaimed, bursting with excitement as she shared the news. "I've been invited to exhibit my work at a gallery." Mark's face lit up with pride and happiness. "That's amazing, Emily. You deserve it. Your work is incredible, and now more people will get to see it." The gallery exhibition became a turning point for Emily, providing her with a platform to share the stories of resilience and recovery she had captured through her lens. The opening night was a resounding success, drawing a crowd of art enthusiasts, community members, and even local media. As she mingled with the guests, Emily felt a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. Her journey from the ashes of her old life to this moment of triumph was a testament to her strength and determination. Among the guests was a renowned art critic who approached Emily, intrigued by her work. "Miss Thompson, your photographs are truly remarkable. They capture the essence of human resilience in a way I've rarely seen. Have you considered taking your exhibition beyond Los Angeles? Emily's eyes widened with surprise and excitement. I haven't thought that far ahead, but I'd love to explore more opportunities. The critic smiled, handing her a business card. Let's discuss this further. I believe your work deserves a broader audience. As the night drew to a close, Emily felt a sense of gratitude for the people who had supported her journey, especially Mark. He had been her rock, providing unwavering support and encouragement. "Thank you for being here, Mark," Emily said, her voice filled with emotion. "I couldn't have done this without you." Mark smiled, his eyes reflecting the depth of his feelings. "I'm proud of you, Emily. You've come so far, and this is just the beginning." Their relationship grew stronger, their bond deepening as they navigated their new paths together. Emily's career flourished, and she found herself more confident and hopeful than ever before. Through the devastation of the fire, Emily had discovered her true strength and resilience. She had rebuilt her life from the ashes, finding new purpose and love along the way. And with Mark by her side, she knew they could face any challenge that came their way. Their bond forged in the flames of adversity. Sarah was sitting in the small, dimly lit room where the support group for fire victims met weekly. Her eyes, weary and shadowed, spoke of sleepless nights and unending worry. Emily noticed this change in her friend and approached her after the meeting. "Sarah, are you okay? You seem different today," Emily asked, concern evident in her voice. Sarah sighed deeply, her shoulders slumping. I'm struggling, Emily. The insurance money barely covered the basics, and with my job gone and the kids needing so much, I don't know how we're going to make it." Emily felt a pang of empathy. She had grown close to Sarah through their shared grief, and seeing her friend in such distress stirred something deep within her. She wanted to help, but how? That night, as Emily lay in bed, her mind raced with ideas. She thought about her upcoming photography exhibition, a showcase of the fire's aftermath and the resilience of those affected. A spark of inspiration ignited within her. What if she could use her exhibition to help Sarah? The next day, Emily met with the gallery owner, a kind-hearted woman named Linda. "Linda, I have an idea," Emily began, her excitement barely contained. "What if we turn the exhibition into a fundraiser? We could raise money for families like Sarah's who are struggling to rebuild their lives." Linda's eyes lit up. "That's a wonderful idea, Emily. We can set up donation boxes and even auction off some of the photographs. I'm sure people would be eager to help." With Linda's enthusiastic support, Emily got to work. She designed posters and social media posts, spreading the word about the fundraiser. She reached out to local businesses and friends, enlisting their help in gathering donations. The day of the exhibition arrived, and the gallery buzzed with energy. Emily had never seen so many people in one place, all drawn together by a common cause. The walls were lined with her photographs, each one telling a story of loss, hope, and resilience. Among the crowd, Emily spotted Sarah, who looked overwhelmed by the turnout. "Emily, this is incredible," Sarah said, tears welling up in her eyes. "I can't believe you did all this." Emily hugged her friend tightly. "We're all in this together, Sarah. I couldn't just stand by and do nothing." As the evening progressed, people moved through the gallery, pausing to admire the photographs and read the stories behind them. They dropped money into donation boxes, some discreetly, others with grand gestures. The auction was a resounding success, with several photographs fetching high bids. Emily watched as Sarah interacted with the attendees, sharing her story and expressing her gratitude. It was a humbling experience for both women. By the end of the night, they had raised a substantial amount of money. "Emily, I don't know how to thank you," Sarah said, her voice choked with emotion. "This money will make such a difference for my family and so many others." "It's not just me, Sarah. Everyone here wanted to help. We did this together," Emily replied, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. In the weeks that followed, Emily and Sarah worked together to distribute the funds raised. They paid for temporary housing, bought groceries, and covered medical expenses for families in need. The fundraiser had not only provided financial relief, but had also brought the community closer together. Through this process, Emily realized the true power of her new vocation. Photography had always been her passion, but now it had a purpose beyond her own fulfillment. It was a tool for change, a way to give voice to the voiceless and bring light to the darkest of times. One afternoon, as they were organizing the last of the donations, Sarah turned to Emily with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Emily, you found a way to turn your pain into something beautiful. I think that's the most inspiring thing about all of this." Emily smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. "I guess we both have, Sarah. We've turned our pain into strength, and that's something no fire can ever take away from us." Their bond grew even stronger, forged in the crucible of shared hardship and mutual support. Emily's journey of self-discovery had led her to a place of profound empathy and understanding. She had learned that true healing came not from forgetting the past, but from using it as a foundation to build something new and meaningful. The exhibition and fundraiser marked a turning point in Emily's life. It showed her the impact she could have on the world and solidified her commitment to helping others through her art. She continued to document the recovery efforts, capturing moments of joy, sorrow, and resilience. Her photographs became a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that even in the face of devastation, there was always a chance for renewal. As Emily and Sarah walked through the neighborhood one evening, observing the gradual rebuilding efforts, they talked about the future. "What's next for you, Emily?" Sarah asked, curiosity in her voice. "I'm not entirely sure," Emily admitted, "but I know I want to keep doing this, helping people, telling their stories. It feels like I've found my calling." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "Whatever you do, I know it will be amazing. You have a gift, Emily, and you're using it to make the world a better place." Emily looked at her friend, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "And I couldn't have done any of this without you, Sarah. You've been my rock through all of this. Thank you." As they continued their walk, the sun setting behind them, Emily felt a sense of peace. She had faced unimaginable loss and found a way to rise from the ashes. Her journey was far from over, but she was no longer walking it alone. She had found a new purpose, new friends, and a renewed sense of hope. And that, she realized, was the greatest victory of all. Ryan had always been a man of duty and commitment, but his recent experiences had forced him to reevaluate what truly mattered in his life. After the therapy sessions, he began to understand the depth of his emotional entanglement with Emily and how it was affecting his marriage with Rebecca. He realized that despite the strong connection he felt with Emily, his true responsibility lay with his wife and their shared life. One evening, Ryan sat down with Rebecca at their kitchen table. The soft light from the pendant lamp above them cast a warm glow, but the tension in the air was palpable. Rebecca looked at Ryan with cautious eyes, waiting for him to speak. "Rebecca, I've been doing a lot of thinking," Ryan began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "The therapy sessions have helped me see things more clearly. I need to focus on us, on our marriage. I know I hurt you, and I'm truly sorry." Rebecca sighed, her eyes welling up with tears. "Ryan, I know you didn't mean to cause me pain, but it's been hard seeing you so emotionally distant. I want us to work, but we need to rebuild the trust." Ryan reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "I want that too. I promise. I'll do whatever it takes to make things right between us. I need to distance myself from Emily to give our relationship the attention it deserves." Meanwhile, Emily was grappling with her own emotions. She had formed a deep bond with Ryan, but discovering that he was married had shattered her trust. Despite her feelings for him, she knew that she needed to respect his decision to work on his marriage. Emily decided to pour her energy into her photography project, using it as a way to heal and move forward. One afternoon, as Emily was editing photos in her small apartment, she received a message from Ryan. It was brief but heartfelt. "Emily, I need to focus on my marriage. I hope you understand. Thank you for everything. Ryan." Emily stared at the message for a long moment, her heart heavy but resolute. She knew this was the right thing for both of them. With a deep breath, she replied, "I understand, Ryan. Take care of yourself and Rebecca. Thank you for everything, Emily." As she hit send, a sense of closure washed over her. It was time to let go and embrace the new opportunities in her life. She had a burgeoning career and new relationships to nurture. In the midst of her emotional turmoil, Emily had reconnected with Mark, an old friend from childhood. Mark had always been a source of stability and kindness, and their renewed friendship had blossomed into something deeper. One evening, after a long day of photographing and documenting the stories of those affected by the fire, Mark invited Emily to dinner at a cozy little restaurant in the heart of the city. Over a candlelit table, Mark finally mustered the courage to express his feelings. He looked into Emily's eyes, the flickering candlelight reflecting his sincerity. "Emily, there's something I've been wanting to tell you," Mark began, his voice soft but steady. "These past few months, getting to know you again and seeing the incredible strength you have, it's made me realize how much I care about you. I think I always have." Emily felt her heart skip a beat. She had always admired Mark's unwavering support and genuine kindness, but hearing him articulate his feelings brought a rush of emotions. "Mark, I care about you too," Emily replied, her voice trembling slightly. "You've been such a rock for me, and I don't know what I would have done without you." Mark reached across the table, gently taking her hand in his. "Emily, I know you've been through so much, and I don't want to rush anything, but I want you to know that I'm here for you, in whatever way you need." Emily squeezed his hand, feeling a sense of warmth and security she hadn't felt in a long time. "Thank you, Mark. That means a lot to me. Let's take things one step at a time." As they left the restaurant, walking hand in hand under the city lights, Emily felt a sense of hope and possibility. She had lost so much in the fire, but she had also gained new perspectives, new friendships, and perhaps even a new love. In the following weeks, Emily and Mark's relationship continued to grow. They spent time exploring the city, sharing their dreams and fears, and supporting each other in their respective journeys. Emily's photography project was gaining recognition, and she was invited to showcase her work at a local gallery. The experience not only solidified her career but also opened new doors for her. One evening, after a successful gallery opening, Mark and Emily sat on a bench overlooking the city skyline. The air was cool, and the stars twinkled above them. "Emily, I've never been prouder of you," Mark said, his voice filled with admiration. "Your work is touching so many lives." Emily smiled, leaning her head on Mark's shoulder. "Thank you, Mark. I couldn't have done it without your support." Mark turned to look at her, his eyes reflecting the depth of his feelings. "Emily, I love you. I want us to build a future together, whatever that looks like." Emily felt tears welling up in her eyes, but this time they were tears of joy. "I love you too, Mark. Let's build something beautiful together." As they sat there, wrapped in each other's arms, Emily realized that from the ashes of her past, she had found a new beginning. Her journey of self-discovery and resilience had led her to a place of love and hope. And with Mark by her side, she felt ready to embrace whatever the future held. Emily had always dreamed of a life filled with creativity and purpose, but the devastating fire that consumed her home in Los Angeles had initially seemed like the end of those dreams. However, in the aftermath of the tragedy, she discovered an unexpected opportunity for growth and a new beginning. One day, as she was finishing the final touches on her photography project, she received an email that would change the trajectory of her life once again. The email was from a prominent art gallery in New York, offering her the chance to exhibit her work in their upcoming showcase. It was an invitation that spoke volumes about her talent and the impact of her photographs documenting the recovery of her community. Emily read the email several times, her heart racing with excitement and disbelief. She had always admired the New York art scene from afar, dreaming of one day being part of it. And now, that dream was within reach. She immediately called Mark to share the news. "Mark, you won't believe this. I just got an offer to exhibit my work in a gallery in New York," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with excitement. Mark's voice on the other end of the line was filled with pride and support. "Emily, that's incredible. You deserve this more than anyone. Your work is amazing, and now so many more people will get to see it." As the days passed and the reality of the move set in, Emily found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this point. She thought about the fire, the loss, and the overwhelming sense of despair that had initially consumed her. But she also thought about the people she had met along the way. Sarah, the brave mother from the support group. Ryan, the firefighter who had saved her life and then become a complicated part of it, and Mark, her childhood friend who had become so much more. One evening, as she was packing her belongings, she sat down with Mark to talk about the upcoming changes. The conversation was filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Mark, I can't believe how much has changed since the fire," Emily said, her voice soft with emotion. "I never could have imagined that something so devastating could lead to something so beautiful." Mark took her hand, his eyes filled with understanding and love. "You've been through so much, Emily, but you've shown incredible strength and resilience. New York is just the next step in your journey. And no matter what, we'll find a way to make this work." Emily smiled through her tears, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the support and love she had found in Mark. "I know we will. Thank you for always believing in me." The days leading up to her move were a whirlwind of activity. Emily worked tirelessly to prepare her photographs for the exhibition, ensuring that every detail was perfect. She also spent time with Sarah and the other members of the support group, sharing her excitement and gratitude for their support. On the day of her departure, Mark drove her to the airport. The ride was filled with moments of silence and shared glances, both of them acutely aware of the significance of the moment. As they reached the terminal, Mark turned to her, his expression serious but loving. "Emily, I want you to know that no matter how far apart we are, my feelings for you won't change. We'll make this work, I promise." Emily felt a lump in her throat as she hugged him tightly. "I believe you, Mark, and I feel the same way. This is just the beginning for us." As she boarded the plane, Emily felt a mix of emotions: sadness at leaving behind the life she had rebuilt in Los Angeles, but also excitement and anticipation for the opportunities that awaited her in New York. She knew that this move was a pivotal moment in her journey, one that would shape her future in profound ways. Upon arriving in New York, Emily was immediately struck by the energy and vibrancy of the city. The gallery that had invited her was located in a bustling neighborhood, surrounded by other art spaces and creative hubs. She felt a sense of belonging that she hadn't experienced in a long time. The preparations for the exhibition were intense, but Emily thrived on the challenge. She worked closely with the gallery's curators, arranging her photographs and creating a narrative that would resonate with viewers. Her work focused on the human stories behind the fire, capturing moments of despair, resilience, and hope. Each photograph told a story, and together they formed a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit. As the opening night approached, Emily felt a mixture of nerves and excitement. She knew that this exhibition was more than just a showcase of her work. It was a culmination of her journey, a reflection of her growth and transformation. On the night of the exhibition, the gallery was filled with people, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the photographs. Emily moved through the crowd, engaging in conversations and sharing the stories behind her work. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her photographs were making an impact. Mark had flown in for the opening, and as the evening progressed, they found a quiet corner to talk. "Emily, this is amazing. I'm so proud of you," Mark said, his eyes shining with pride. "Thank you, Mark," Emily replied, her voice filled with emotion. "I couldn't have done this without you." As the night drew to a close, Emily stood in the center of the gallery, looking around at the faces of the people who had come to see her work. She felt a sense of accomplishment and gratitude, knowing that she had turned her pain into something beautiful and meaningful. The next day, as she walked through the streets of New York, Emily reflected on the journey that had brought her here. She thought about the fire, the loss, and the people who had supported her along the way. She knew that her journey was far from over, but she felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. With Mark by her side and a world of opportunities ahead of her, Emily felt ready to embrace the future. She knew that no matter what challenges came her way, she had the strength and resilience to overcome them. And as she looked out at the skyline of New York, she felt a sense of excitement and possibility, knowing that the best was yet to come. Emily arrived in New York with a mix of anxiety and excitement. Her heart raced as she stepped off the plane, feeling the electric buzz of the city that never sleeps. The opportunity to showcase her work in such a prestigious venue was a dream come true, but it also felt daunting. She had come a long way from the ashes of her home in Los Angeles, and this moment was a testament to her resilience and growth. Once settled into her modest apartment in the heart of Manhattan, Emily threw herself into the preparations for her exhibition. She spent hours at the gallery, meticulously arranging her photographs, each one telling a poignant story of loss, hope, and recovery. The gallery owner, Mr. Thompson, was a seasoned curator who appreciated Emily's raw talent and emotional depth. "Emily, these photos are more than just images. They capture the essence of human spirit and resilience. I'm confident this exhibition will be a great success," he said, his voice filled with genuine admiration. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. That means a lot to me. I just hope people can see the stories behind these faces," Emily replied, her eyes scanning the room, filled with a sense of purpose. The night of the opening arrived, and the gallery buzzed with anticipation. Emily stood near the entrance, greeting guests as they arrived. She wore a simple yet elegant dress, her hair pulled back in a loose bun, exuding both confidence and grace. Friends, art enthusiasts, and critics mingled, their attention drawn to the powerful images adorning the walls. As Emily made her rounds, she noticed a distinguished-looking man studying one of her photos intently. He was tall, with silver hair and a sharp suit, exuding an air of authority. Curious, she approached him. "Good evening. I'm Emily, the photographer. I hope you're enjoying the exhibition," she said, offering her hand. The man turned to her with a warm smile. "Good evening, Emily. My name is Richard Harmon. I'm an editor at Reflections, a magazine dedicated to photography and human interest stories. Your work is exceptional." Emily's heart skipped a beat. "Thank you, Mr. Harmon. That means a lot coming from someone in your position. Please call me Richard. Your photographs are not just visually stunning, but they convey such profound emotion. The stories behind them must be extraordinary," he said, his eyes reflecting genuine interest. "They are. Each photo represents a journey of loss and recovery, not just for the people in them, but for myself as well," Emily explained, feeling an unexpected surge of pride. Richard nodded thoughtfully. "I'd love to discuss your work further. How about we meet for coffee tomorrow?" "That would be wonderful." "Thank you, Richard," Emily replied, excitement bubbling within her. The next morning, Emily met Richard at a quaint cafe near Central Park. They talked for hours, delving into the stories behind her photographs and her journey of self-discovery. Richard was captivated by her dedication and the depth of her work. "Emily, I'd like to propose something. How would you feel about publishing a book with your photographs and the stories of the people you've documented? I think it would be a powerful testament to resilience and hope," Richard suggested, his eyes twinkling with enthusiasm. Emily's eyes widened in surprise. "A book? That would be incredible. I never imagined my work would reach that level." "Your work deserves it. Let's make it happen," Richard said, smiling warmly. As they finalized the details, Emily felt a renewed sense of purpose. The opportunity to share these stories on a larger scale was a dream come true. She spent the next few months working tirelessly with Richard and his team, selecting photographs and writing the accompanying narratives. Throughout this process, Emily's relationship with Mark remained strong. Despite the distance, they supported each other wholeheartedly. Mark often visited her in New York, bringing a piece of home with him. His unwavering belief in her fueled her determination. One evening, as they strolled through Central Park, Mark took her hand and looked into her eyes. "Emily, I'm so proud of you. You've turned a tragedy into something beautiful. Your strength inspires me every day." "Thank you, Mark. I couldn't have done it without your support," Emily replied, her voice filled with gratitude. Their bond grew deeper, rooted in mutual respect and love. Emily's career flourished, and her book, titled From the Ashes, became a bestseller, touching the hearts of readers worldwide. The stories of courage and resilience resonated deeply, and Emily found herself invited to speak at various events and conferences. One such event was a prestigious photography conference in New York. As she stood on stage, sharing her journey and the stories behind her photographs, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The audience was captivated, their applause echoing through the hall. After her speech, Richard approached her with a look of pride. "You were incredible, Emily. You've touched so many lives with your work." "Thank you, Richard. This journey has been beyond anything I could have imagined, Emily replied, her eyes shining with emotion. As she continued to navigate her burgeoning career, Emily never forgot the people who had inspired her. She frequently visited Los Angeles, reconnecting with Sarah and other survivors. Their progress and resilience served as a constant reminder of why she had embarked on this journey. One sunny afternoon, as she sat with Sarah in a bustling cafe, they reminisced about the past. "Emily, you've come so far. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me and so many others," Sarah said, her voice filled with warmth. "You and everyone else's stories gave me the strength to move forward. This journey has been as much about you as it has been about me," Emily replied, squeezing Sarah's hand. As the years passed, Emily's work continued to evolve. She remained dedicated to using her photography to tell stories of hope and resilience. Her exhibitions traveled to different cities, each one a testament to the indomitable human spirit. Through it all, Emily and Mark's love endured. They navigated the challenges of a long-distance relationship with grace and determination, always finding their way back to each other. Their love story, born from the ashes of tragedy, was a beacon of hope. Emily's journey was far from over, but she had already achieved more than she had ever dreamed. Her life, once shattered by loss, had been rebuilt with love, purpose, and the unwavering belief in the power of human resilience. Ryan and Rebecca had faced an arduous journey to rediscover the harmony in their marriage. The emotional connection that Ryan had developed with Emily during the turbulent days following the fire had initially created a rift between them. However, through therapy and countless heartfelt conversations, they managed to rebuild their relationship. Rebecca, who had always been perceptive, recognized the depth of Ryan's inner turmoil and stood by him, albeit with a guarded heart. "Ryan, I need to know that you're with me completely," Rebecca had once said, her eyes searching his for reassurance. "I can't go through this if a part of you is elsewhere." Ryan had taken her hands in his grip firm yet gentle. "Rebecca, I am here with you. I want us to work. I need us to work." Emily was. She was a moment of confusion in a time of chaos. "But you are my foundation." With time, they established a new rhythm, one that included open communication and shared activities that reminded them of why they fell in love in the first place. They began attending community events together, volunteering at local shelters, and even took up hiking, a shared passion from when they first met. Slowly, the bonds of trust and love grew stronger, and Ryan made a resolute decision to distance himself from Emily for good. Meanwhile, Emily had been flourishing in New York. Her photography exhibition had not only been a professional success, but had also garnered the attention of influential figures in the art world. Her project, which documented the lives of those affected by the Los Angeles fire, was hailed as both poignant and powerful. It was during one such exhibition that she encountered the editor of a renowned photography magazine, which eventually led to a book deal. Emily's work was becoming a beacon of hope and resilience. Despite her burgeoning career, Emily never forgot the people who had been part of her journey. She decided to return to Los Angeles for a brief visit, driven by the need to reconnect and see how everyone had progressed. The city, with its familiar yet changed landscapes, evoked a myriad of emotions in her. One of her first stops was to see Sarah, the resilient mother who had become a close friend. Sarah's life had taken a positive turn, much to Emily's delight. The funds raised through Emily's exhibition had helped Sarah rebuild her life. She had managed to secure a stable job and was now living in a cozy apartment with her daughter. "Emily, it's so good to see you," Sarah greeted her with an exuberant hug. "You have no idea how much that fundraiser changed our lives." "I'm so happy for you, Sarah," Emily replied, her voice tinged with emotion. "You deserve all the happiness in the world." They spent hours catching up, sharing stories of their lives post-tragedy. Sarah updated Emily about the other group members, many of whom had also found new beginnings. The resilience of these individuals, who had faced such devastating losses, was a testament to the indomitable human spirit. Emily also made it a point to visit the local community center, a place that had become a hub for those affected by the fire. It was here that Emily had met many of the subjects of her photographs. Seeing their progress and the sense of community that had formed was profoundly moving. As she walked through the center, she was greeted with smiles and hugs. "Emily, your photos, they gave us a voice," one woman said, her eyes brimming with tears. "You made people see us, hear us." Emily's heart swelled with a mixture of pride and humility. She had set out to document their stories, but in the process, she had become a part of their lives, and they had become a part of hers. During her visit, Emily also reunited with Mark, who had been a steadfast presence in her life since their reconnection. Despite the physical distance, their relationship had grown stronger. Mark had been nothing but supportive of Emily's career and her need to pursue her dreams. "New York treating you well?" Mark asked, his eyes twinkling with genuine interest. "It is," Emily replied, smiling. "But I miss Elle, and I miss you." "We'll make it work, Emily. We have so far, haven't we?" Mark said, his tone reassuring. Their time together in Los Angeles was filled with moments of simple joy, walking through parks, reminiscing about old times, and sharing dreams for the future. The love they had found in each other was a comforting constant amidst the ever-changing circumstances of their lives. As Emily prepared to return to New York, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. The journey from the ashes of her old life had been fraught with challenges and heartbreaks, but it had also been a path of self-discovery and growth. She had found new purpose in her photography, new connections in the people she met, and new love in Mark. Standing at the airport, ready to board her flight back, Emily looked back at the city that had been the backdrop of her transformation. She knew that her story was far from over. With a heart full of hope and determination, she stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever the future held. "See you soon, LA," she whispered to herself, a smile playing on her lips. This is just the beginning. During a return trip to New York, Emily's phone buzzed with an unknown number. She hesitated for a moment, wondering if it was just another spam call, but something urged her to pick up. "Hello?" Emily answered, her voice tinged with curiosity. "Is this Emily Johnson?" A professional voice inquired on the other end. "Yes, speaking. Who's this?" "My name is Mr. Thompson. I'm an attorney. I have some rather unexpected news for you. You've been mentioned in a will." Emily's heart skipped a beat. "A will? There must be some mistake." "I assure you, Miss Johnson, there is no mistake. Could you come to my office at your earliest convenience? It's important that we discuss this matter in person." Emily agreed to meet Mr. Thompson the next day, her mind racing with questions. Who could have possibly included her in their will? She spent the rest of the plane ride back to New York in a state of bewildered anticipation. The following day, Emily arrived at the attorney's office, a modest yet well-appointed space in downtown Manhattan. Mr. Thompson greeted her warmly and ushered her into his office. "Please have a seat," he said, gesturing to a chair opposite his desk. "I appreciate you coming on such short notice." "Of course. Can you please tell me what this is all about?" Emily asked, still feeling a mix of confusion and curiosity. Mr. Thompson adjusted his glasses and opened a thick file on his desk. "You were mentioned in the will of Mrs. Eleanor Davis. She was an elderly woman who, unfortunately, lost everything in the Los Angeles fire." Emily's eyes widened. "Mrs. Davis. I remember her. I helped her find temporary housing after the fire, but I never imagined she would do something like this. She spoke highly of your kindness and the support you offered her during a very difficult time," Mr. Thompson explained. "In her will, she left you a substantial sum of money as a token of her gratitude." Emily was speechless. The gravity of the situation slowly sank in, and tears welled up in her eyes. "I never expected anything in return. I just wanted to help." Mrs. Davis was deeply moved by your generosity. "She felt that you deserved to be rewarded for your compassion," Mr. Thompson said, handing Emily a document that detailed the specifics of the inheritance. It was more money than Emily had ever seen in her life. As she processed this unexpected turn of events, Emily's mind began to race with possibilities. What could she do with this money that would honor Mrs. Davis's memory and continue to help others? Then, an idea began to take shape. A vision of a community center that could provide support and resources for victims of disasters. With newfound determination, Emily decided to invest the money into creating a center that would offer counseling, emergency housing, and other vital services to those in need. She envisioned a place where people could find solace and rebuild their lives, much like she had to do after the fire. Over the next few months, Emily threw herself into the project with relentless passion. She collaborated with architects, social workers, and community leaders to bring her vision to life. The center, named Eleanor's Hope in honor of Mrs. Davis, began to take shape in a renovated building in a neighborhood that had been particularly hard hit by the fire. Emily worked tirelessly, overseeing every detail and ensuring that the center would be a beacon of hope for those who had lost everything. She drew upon her experiences and the stories she had documented through her photography, using them to inform the services and programs offered at Eleanor's Hope. One day, while supervising the final stages of construction, Emily received a call from Sarah, her friend and fellow fire survivor. "Emily, I just heard about the community center. It's incredible what you're doing." "Thanks, Sarah. It just felt like the right thing to do," Emily replied, feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over her. "You've turned something tragic into something beautiful," Sarah said, her voice filled with admiration. "I'm so proud of you." Emily smiled, tears of gratitude filling her eyes. "I couldn't have done it without the support of people like you. We've all been through so much, and it's time we start healing together." As the opening day of Eleanor's Hope approached, Emily felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wanted the center to be a place of healing and empowerment, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. On the day of the grand opening, the community gathered to celebrate the new center. Among the attendees were many of the people Emily had met and helped along her journey. Sarah, Mark, and even some of the firefighters who had fought the blaze that destroyed Emily's home were there to show their support. Emily stood at the podium, looking out at the crowd that had gathered. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "Thank you all for being here today. Eleanor's Hope is more than just a building. It's a symbol of our collective strength and resilience. We've all faced unimaginable challenges, but together, we've found a way to rise from the ashes." The crowd erupted in applause, and Emily felt a profound sense of accomplishment. She had turned her pain into a purpose, transforming her personal tragedy into a source of hope and healing for others. As the event continued, Emily mingled with the attendees, sharing stories and reconnecting with old friends. Mark, who had been a constant source of support throughout the process, pulled her aside. "Emily, you did it. This place is amazing," he said, his eyes filled with pride. "Thank you, Mark. I couldn't have done it without you," Emily replied, hugging him tightly. That evening, as the sun set and the crowd began to disperse, Emily stood outside Eleanor's Hope, reflecting on her journey. The center was a testament to her strength, resilience, and the power of community. She had found a way to turn her pain into a force for good, helping others to rebuild their lives just as she had rebuilt her own. As Emily walked through the halls of the center, she felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. She had found her purpose and, in doing so, had honored the memory of Mrs. Davis and all those who had suffered in the fire. Eleanor's Hope was more than just a community center. It was a beacon of hope, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, there is always the potential for new beginnings.